In this video, we're going to show you to install the front lower forward control arm on your Dodge Charger located behind your front wheels. Using a 22mm socket, let's loosen and remove our lug nuts. Remove the wheel and set it aside. Using a 21mm socket, let's get it loosen and remove this nut. Now, wearing safety glasses, we're going to go ahead and use our hammer and strike right here on our knuckle. That should release our forward control ball joint. There it is. You can see that the ball joint has separated from the knuckle. Let's now move to the forward portion and undo that bolt. Now, the forward part of this control arm has a horizontal bolt going through. Now, what is the issue here is that you can't unthread the nut off of this way here, otherwise it hits the cradle. That bolt literally comes maybe a quarter of an inch from that cradle. So we have to hold that nut and we have to loosen and remove the bolt from this side here and pull it out. It comes out behind the splash shield. So we're going to use our trim tool and we need to remove as many components or buttons as it takes so that we can get a tool in there and get our hand in there. Now, we can't pull down the fender liner or gain access because of our rear splash shield here. So we're going to use our 10mm and loosen and remove the 4 screws holding this. Again, slide that splash shield out, set that aside. Remove these 3 screws holding the fender liner to the air duct. 7mm socket will work. So now we can go ahead and flex this out a little bit. You can see our horizontal bolt, when it starts to come out, it may be impacted by this plastic shield. There are plastic push buttons that hold it in place. Now, if we follow the fender liner up, there's one right here. There's a plastic retaining button. The ABS wire runs right behind it. I want to pop this one out. Now, that's going to allow us a bit more access to go ahead and pop that up and out. Reason why we did that, and when we peel this up and look up underneath, there is one plastic button right here holding this here. There's another one further over. But if we can just get up in there, pop that one out, that should allow us a little more accessibility to move this panel to get that bigger bolt out. Now I'm going to use a 18mm gear wrench on this side. This side here is a 21. Now normally you want to go ahead and just kind of break this nut free first. Remove that nut in the washer. We can gently tap this out. Be careful not to damage those threads. I can pull this back and we'll get that plastic to move. Get that plastic to move just enough. Actually just got that bolt wedged in there. We should be able to use our pry bar, get that control arm to start to shift. So now what we'll do is we'll move to the inside, pop that ball joint. We should be able to manipulate this around and get that arm out. I'm gonna grab our control arm and lift it up. Now, if you can't get this up and out, go ahead and just move the control arm inward into the cradle. You should be able to lift that up and over. Now we're just cranking that wheel off to the side and we can swing this over. Hopefully we can pull it up and out. Like so. Then I'm gonna take the new control arm. So we can go ahead and finagle that into the cradle, work that back up into place. With that back in the cradle, push it up into the pocket. Then we can bring our ball joint over. Just want to go ahead and get that ball joint to line up. Pull that down into place. Let's go ahead and just get the capture nut on there. Now I'm going to grab this wheel and I'm going to rotate it back. We can use a rubber mallet. You can use your hammer if you want, but our rubber mallet will make it a little bit easier, a little quieter. Get our hole lined up. See if we can get our bolt to pop into place. I'm just using the pry bar between the cradle and the arm itself to get that lined up a little bit. It's so close. I'm just throwing my gear wrench on there to go ahead and start to drive that in. Now remember, you're going to have limited amount of space. So go ahead and get your washer started here. Continue to drive that in. Once you have more space, get that nut installed. I'm just going to hold that nut there while I go ahead and drive that in. I'm going to go ahead and pull down on our control arm and use your 21mm socket to snug this down. We'll come back and torque that later. We're now going to go ahead and put our pull jack underneath the knuckle itself. We're going to raise this up to our neutral ride height. That means basically if we had our wheels on the vehicle and it was on the ground and it compresses the suspension, that is our neutral ride height. Then at that point there, we'll go ahead and torque the forward bolt. When replacing this component, after the vehicle is assembled, you need to bring the vehicle down and get an alignment properly done. That'll help prevent abnormally worn tires and premature wear of other components. Now we're going to snug down this bolt here and then we'll torque it to 136 foot-pounds. Install your lower shield. Once you get that lined up, get your bolts started. Once we get all 4 installed, we can go ahead and just snug them down. You just gently snug those down until they bottom out. And make sure that your inner fender liner is tucked in. Push this up into place. Install the plastic push button on the inner shield up top here. Tuck this in. Install your 3 screws on the brake duct. Install our 3 buttons on the bottom. And then we have our last button on the upper portion here of our splash guard. You can lower your jack. Remove that and set it aside. Let's torque down our nut. It's going to be 50 foot-pounds plus an additional 90 degrees. And we can see our steering is turning here, so let's go ahead and rotate this so it locks out. This is our 50, so 90 degrees is an additional quarter turn. Go ahead and grab your wheel, line that up, set it into place. We want to go ahead and get all of our lug nuts started by hand, and then we'll snug them down. Go ahead and torque your lug nuts down to 130 foot-pounds. I'm going to do this in a crisscross pattern. After finishing this installation, it's important to have an alignment done on your vehicle.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.